Welcome to Retirement with Jim. So today, I'm going to say, is this you? Can you do this? So before we get started, if you like my channel, please hit the subscribe button, the like button, helps my channel grow. And feel free to leave comments. Love to hear from you. Love to know what you think and whether you agree, disagree, or topics you'd like me to discuss. With that, let's get started. So, is this you? Can you do this? This kind of comes from an article that Suze Orman, one of the people who talks about finances all the time, put out. Some of it may agree with, some may not. But she's saying that you need 3 to 5 years worth of cash saved to be able to get through these trying times. Now, I'm not going to say I disagree, but I'm wondering how realistic it is for a 3 to 5 year period to be able to save that kind of money, and have that money just sitting there. Now, I am an advocate of saying you got to have at least a year's worth. Excuse me. And that's difficult as it is just to save a year for a lot of people. So you got to say, okay, you need money for housing, healthcare, groceries, the basics, before you even then look at vacation or any kind of discretionary expenses. So, when you look at the basics, and some people, if you don't have a mortgage, that's great, but many people nowadays have a mortgage. So that's something you have to factor in as your ability to pay that mortgage and have enough money to cover that. So, of course, that just increases the amount of money you need to have. Right now, all of your accounts, whether they are 401k, IRAs, your personal investments, they're all subject to the ups and downs of the stock market. So does it make sense to have that cash? Sure, because no one can see what the stock market is going to do. It's been riding high for a long time, and now it has hit some real serious bumps. So can you have a cash reserve of 3 to 5 years? So, that and what she says is you have that 3 to 5 year period so that your 401k and your stock investments have time to recuperate and recover. So it's not just to have that for that period, but it's being able to use that money and have your investments have time to get back on their feet, so to speak. As I said before, it's hard to have 1 year's worth of saving. Do you think it's realistic to have 3 to 5 years? And whatever you take your money and you put it into, your cash has got to be easily accessible. So, whether it's just simply cash in the bank in a savings account, hopefully maybe a high yield account that can bring you back some investment, some money on your investment sitting there. Because you want your cash to be able to at least do something other than just sitting in the bank. If you're looking to retire soon, you need to take a look, according to Susie, at what your investments are doing, your stock, and take a look at your underperforming stock and consider whether or not you want to get out of that altogether. If you pull that out, you could use that as your cash reserve, or you could reshift it into better performing stock. She also says if you have stock that is doing well, you can take a little from that stock and of course put that in the bank and have that for your cash, your cash reserves. I'm not so sure about that. If you've got darn flies. If you've got money in a stock and it's doing well, why do you want to pull from it? You really want that to just keep on growing and doing well. So I'm not so sure about that part of that. So is it reasonable to have 3 to 5 years worth of cash just sitting there? And so, you got to ask yourself, is this something that you would do? Is this something you can do? You know, it's really, in my opinion, she's not speaking to the average person, because the average person, I don't think, has the ability to have, 3 to 5 years. 3 years, maybe. 5 years? I don't know. That's really pushing it. That's a lot of cash that is kind of going unused and not working for you. So again, I think it's not the average person. I think it's, beyond that. So you might want to take a look at, how your stocks are performing, reassess there, and yes, have at least a year's worth of cash, on hand. That is probably a really smart thing to do, because you've got to be able to cover any kind of emergencies. And right now, when you look at how the stock market is performing, yeah, it makes everyone nervous. So tell me what you think. Tell me if you agree. Tell me if you disagree. Let me know in the comments below. So with that, I'm going to tell you have a great day, and I will see you in the next one.